So I'm going to talk about a project, not a complete handbook. The title of the handbook will be the Philatelic Handbook for Paraguay, Spanish Colonial Times to 1942. This is Paraguay, but most of you know exactly what Paraguay would look like. Some background. I collect Paraguay since 1990, as I have told before, and I end in 1942 because then Paraguay changed from peso to guarani. And after that, you had all the issues that you can't get real used. When I started collecting, I could hardly find any literature on Paraguay. It didn't exist. And finally, in the beginning of the 2000s, I got a copy of Knightsel. I knew it existed, but it was very hard to get. And around 2010, I came in contact with Johan's website, Handbook of Paraguay. When I found it, I contacted Joe and I received the Word documents that were behind the web page. But I didn't take a look at them until spring last year. They were just sitting there. That's because my computer doesn't have a CD drive and my son has a standalone CD. And finally, I took the time to take a look. Last year, I asked Joe whether I could use the Word documents and put them together and start creating something of an handbook. This is what Johan's website looks like at the moment. It is archived. And you see that there are chapters. You have a part 1 and a part 2, and it continues. And this is the beginning pages, Spanish colonial time, chapter 1. And I hoped that I would continue and that Johan, could help me, but he died suddenly in December last year. So I couldn't ask him anything else that might have been useful. And I thought, well, that's it. And then I had some hope again. I contacted Minnie Morehouse to use Brian Morehouse's pages on the Chaco War. I also contacted her because Brian Morehouse was the editor of the main sheet, and I wanted to distribute the main sheet freely because it wasn't available anymore. I also contacted Robert Shaw, and he permitted me the use of information from his book on the Lions essays. And Joe gave me permission to freely use the Word documents behind his web pages. So I started putting everything together. There are a few handbooks and catalogs that you can have. The first one is The Stamps of Paraguay by C.J. Phillips. The book itself you can get. It is not always easy, but you can get. However, people don't know that this book originally appeared in the journal of the Stanley Gibbons Weekly, and the Stanley Gibbons Weekly is freely downloadable. Also, the most important book for collectors of Paraguay is the book by Victor Knightsel in 1947. It is the only catalog he printed for Paraguay. His catalog for Argentina has many runs, but only this one appeared for Paraguay. And if you watch the introduction, you can see that it is based on a collection that he sold. Last year, finally, after many, many years, a very heavy and very thick new catalog for Paraguay appeared. It is about this thick and weighs 2.2 kilograms. So it's very large. You also have a few other resources. There are some publications by Godoy de Vargas, and this one on the emissions from 1881 and 1886. That one is very important to Paraguay collectors because it tells you the platings and the varieties of these emissions. The book in the middle, I still don't have. I'm looking for it. And of course, the last one is the PDF belonging to the presentation of Brian Morehouse. Um, and I'm um, given permission by Mimi Morehouse to extensively use anything in it, as long as I acknowledge that it came from Brian. Um, Joe's Hahn's website had complete pages up to the provisionals of 1902 and 1903. The postal stationery chapter is also complete up to 1942, but the rest is incomplete. So no ordinary stamps from 1908 till 1942, no airmails, no rural issues, no official post. It's all missing. And there are chapters missing, by which I mean chapters that would require some special attentions, like a special chapter about Zeppelin and Zeppelin mail from Paraguay, a chapter about the Chaco War with a lot of interesting covers, covers um, sent through Rotary clubs in Bolivia and Paraguay, and scout mail also delivered between Bolivia and Paraguay. And of course, a chapter on the Lions essays. He just starts with the books or the first issue, and the Lions essay are printed before but have never been issued. Also, he doesn't have a specialized chapter on proofs and essays. He does include proofs, but in the chapters itself. I will come back to that later. Now, I am creating the handbook, and I created it as a PDF. This is a screenshot of the PDF. You see the page in the middle, which is normal, but at the right side, you see that there is an index. If you want to skip to a certain part of the book, you can do so by skipping through the bookmarks and the index at the right side. So it's easier to come and go through the book itself. I showed you the first part, and these are the last chapters, 49 chapters in total, and a long list of references. And I think the references for the moment are the most important part for the book to be read or used. There is a lot of work involved. First of all, on the webpage, Johan says, I've seen, I've done. But that has to change, and I will change it in Han 2009 because it came from his website. Then there is the question of who do I acknowledge as authors? The original pages were from Johan, but I will add a lot to it. And I have not figured out what I will do with the authorships. I also need to acknowledge people that have provided me with information. I will need to add chapters because a lot of the chapters are not written. And most work will be involved with adding pictures because I have some pictures, but not all. And pictures that I can find on the internet usually are of a quality that is too low. And I need to add references. That also takes a lot of time because Joe did make some references, but not all. So the chapters that I definitely will going to add is one on Lions essays, proofs and essays, Zeppelins, Chaco Wars, but also fake and forgeries and bogus issues and non-postal issues. There are a lot of issues that are non-postal in essence, and some Paraguay collectors might never have seen before. So I want to add those as well. But I don't have all the information. So if you have something, send it to me. Um, these fakes and forgeries and bogus issues will be added. Um, the 500 peso commemorating the peace of the Chaco War is a forgery. It is a terrible forgery, but it is not mentioned in many publications. And of course, a lot of airmail stamps between, say, 1929 and 1940 have been forged. And I think that 90 to 95% of all airmail stamps are forgeries. And you also have some bogus issues like the 5 pesos at the end. There is also a 10 pesos. I still have to need to find more information, but a lot of information is written down in Robert Shaw's book. So I can use that information to enlarge the publication. These are a few of the pages that are for the non-postal labels. You have a lot of labels for the Chaco War in different languages, in Italian, Spanish, English, French. Um, and at the end, you see a James William Harrison label. These are the labels. They are not stamps from Paraguay. They have never been to Paraguay. They are specimens of the Harrison Printing Company. And the mystery is, why did he use the name Paraguay on these labels? These stamps I found in a magazine called Dummy Stamps. The magazine doesn't exist anymore. You can't find it. And I have stored it in the Sotero Philatelic repository so that people can download the images and see what's there. This will also be included in the book. These already have. I don't know whether I will add more, but there are about 4 sheets and 4 of the stamps. Now, the references of the website are incomplete. They are indicated and usually say something like de Illustreerde Briefmarkenjournaal August 1906. What I'm doing now, and what takes a lot of time, is checking all of the references and add those to the list of references. So in the text it is referenced, and you will find the reference at the end of the book that we will be creating, so that people can look up where something comes from. It is a check on the information of the publication itself. It takes a lot of time. For instance, the International Briefmarkenjournaal has 32 issues in German. Luckily for me, German is easy. I can read it. But some of the references I was not able to find at the moment, and maybe they will be never found again. It is also indicated in the text that I am creating that I didn't have the reference. The references in text you can see here. I mentioned the book by Benítez Scioto, El Primer Cello Paraguayo. At the end of the book, you can see when it was published, where it was published, and if it has an ISBN, I will also give it. But you see also that there are a lot of classic references to older journals, such as the Philatelic Record and Le Timbre Poste by Mons. Usually these old journals can be downloaded. You have to search them and look for them, but many of them you can download. So I have to check all the pages in a journal to find out where an article or when an article was published, in which issue, and at which pages. To give you some idea, I have seen over 150,000 pages in the last 4 years, because I've scanned through all the journals. Um, at the moment, these are the three pages for the bibliography, and it helps you to find or um, try to get a book or a journal. Um, in most cases, the references here might not show um, um, the URL to download the publication. But if you use my index, Moore's Interactive Philatelic Index, if there is a download, it will be available in the index. And double-clicking the index will get you the publication. Um, there are not many books on Paraguay that will have a bibliography as extensive as mine will be. For instance, you can see here that the Phillips book, Stamps of Paraguay, you see 11 separate articles in the Gibbons stamp weekly or monthly. And you can see that there is also a book published by Stanley Gibbons in 1912. So it also will allows you that if you don't have the book, the articles of the Gibbons Stamp Journal and the Gibbons Stamp Monthly are downloadable. You can find. What I had a very hard time to find is the articles by Sletterby, but now I have some contact with the author itself. He provided me with the articles. Then what I will do in the future, I will always place the newest draft online for everyone to download. Here you can see where you can go to, the folder and the drive where you should go, and where you could download the book. At the moment, only a PDF of the book is available, but in the near future, I will put the Word document online as well. And that online document or that Word document is linked to my Philatelic Index because the Philatelic Index I use to cite and write. When I write something and I know there is an article that provides background information to that specific piece of my book, I can insert the reference and automatically that reference will be inserted into the bibliography at the end. So now only a draft in PDF, but in the future, in the near future, also I will put down the Word document. With that said, in the future, if people want to work together with me on the book, I will set it in Google Drive. And if you have a link to my reference guide of my index, we can work together. And that is possible for any 2 or 3 authors. If you have a book on Google Drive or an article on Google Drive, you can work together on Google Drive and create new articles together, even if you are thousands of miles apart. So now I have some questions and reflections. One of the things that I'm thinking about is Johan placed the proofs after the stamps in the text. So you have an issue and then he tells you which proofs there are. But there are proofs that never came or never were issued. And then there is no special place for them to store in the book. So I wanted to have a new chapter with proofs and essays, and I was wondering if it would be better to get all the proofs in one chapter or keep the proofs together with the stamps and have a different chapter for the stamps that were never issued. Also, I told you that my intention is to have Zeppelin Mill Chaco War included as well but I'm not sure whether I should do it. And that has also to do with the last moment thing. At the moment, the book is about 230 pages without pictures, without complete text. And I think that a complete book will contain about 1,000 pages or more. So should I split the book in a volume 1 and 2? That would not make sense to me because I will make the book available as PDF and it will be available for free. I will not charge anything. Because I think people would benefit greatly if they could download it. And printing a book, well, then it will not be sold in South America because the postage alone will be more expensive than the book itself. Any ideas on this? I hope to hear from you. And now, how can you help? Read and comment my drafts. I told you where it is. And send me your suggestions for improvement. Just not alone for the text, but also what not or what to include. And if you have pictures of stamps, covers, or anything that you might think might be of interest, just send it to me. My email is on the sheet. And you might be able to help me find references. Some references by Johan I was unable to find. In the text in the PDF, they had been commented and marked so that you know, hey, he didn't find this reference. Maybe I can help. Maybe I can find, and maybe you could help me find literature, preferably digital ones, because as I said, postage is a big issue, and I'm looking for Benito Sieto, El Primer Celo Paraguayo. I know it contains the plating of the first stamps of Paraguay because I have an article that was printed in the Revista Sociedad Argentina. I only have the first part, but I don't have the rest. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. If you have any questions or comments for Peter. In the meantime, the hands appear. I do have, here we have one question. Jorge, go ahead.
Yes, Peter, you mentioned at the beginning that you don't speak any Spanish. How do you manage to read the Spanish literature that you mentioned?
Well, I can't read, but I can decipher.
Oh, yes, we can do that in any language.
No. At high school, I had French, and that helps understand and read Spanish. Yeah, I say decipher, but when I read something in Dutch or English or German, in my mind I read it and I say it. When I look at Spanish text, somehow I do understand what it says, and sometimes I need some help translating. But yeah, I manage, strangely.
Yeah. How many languages do you speak? Belgium normally speaks several languages.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, you at high school you have to learn Dutch, English, French, German.
Okay.
Although maybe in recent years they are trying to get rid of a few languages because students already have a lot to do, and they want more internet
language.
yeah, now, well, programming languages, but also using the internet and be careful what you're going to do and what you shouldn't do or you should do or whatever. So yeah, something has to go then. And well, I think that French will be the first to be sacrificed, and then German.
Well, German and Dutch are closer, you see, similar to English.
Yeah, true. But there are a lot of German people that speak English.
That's true too.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but not everyone.
No,
Not
not
everyone.
everyone. Not everyone.
Yeah. But you can communicate mostly in English in Germany. That's true.
Yeah,
But also you
especially
can do the same in the Netherlands.
in the Netherlands, you can speak English with almost everyone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then you might be able to speak in German to them.
Mhm.
Especially the older generations might be able to speak German,
Mhm.
and the very old generations do not want to.
I understand.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, because it's a challenge, with all the languages to put together everything in English, particularly with the mixing of sense and meanings and the
Yeah.
lack of information. Sometimes you need to be more creative, I can say on that. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
but it's not as difficult as Arabic.
No,
And I
it's a
also
different alphabet also.
yeah, I also
Fine.
collect Middle East, and then it is well, I'm not even going to try. But fortunately, I'm at a society where there are a few people that speak Arabic, and if I need a translation, I can ask. And it's also true for the South American Society in the Netherlands. There are some people that speak English. The chairman, Hans Vinkenborg, speaks Spanish very well. And he has been an accountant for ING in Latin America. But he only came when there was a debt of more than 10 million. So he was a big account manager in Latin America.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Will,
I also have a lot of issues with the Spanish, man, so you're not alone. I have quite a few questions, Peter, for you. The first one is on slide 17, the James Williams Harrison specimens that mention Paraguay on it. It's really intriguing. So if they were never supposed to be, related to Paraguay, man, there's got to be a reason for that. There's always a reason. I wonder if there is anyone here that knows more about Paraguay stamps, that know the reason about it. I don't know if I think Dila mentioned that. Uh, Dila, do you collect Paraguay, right? Do you happen to know? You're muted. Do you happen to know why those specimens that were not supposed to be for the Paraguay government ended up having Paraguay on them?
¿Alguien me puede traducir? No
yo,
entendí bien.
Sí, disculpa.
bueno, dilo tú si quieres, Will.
Sí,
Sí.
en la presentación, en la página 17, Peter mostró unos specimens que dijo que nunca fueron intended, nunca estuvieron pensados para Paraguay. Sin embargo, dicen Paraguay. Y yo creo que
Así
debe
es.
haber una razón para eso. Y
Son forgeries.
No.
No forgeries, son falsos para engañar a coleccionistas.
Son bogus.
Bogus
Bogus sería la
stamps.
expresión.
Oh,
Son bogus stamps.
No, not bogus stamps. They were printed by Harrison's. They were a kind of a sample of
that's what I
what they could do.
Como una muestra, like a sample.
Do
No.
you?
It's a proof.
Proof.
No.
No.
A sample, a
A
proof.
sample, okay.
Not even a proof. Just
Like
to
a
show.
model of something that can be done.
Yeah, something of a model that can be
Como
done.
un modelo de algo que se podía hacer, dilo eso. O sea,
Sí,
something
pero
like
se vendieron.
okay.
something like a rejected essay or something like that.
No. In the dummy stamps, it is said that they were that they don't know why they were using the words Paraguay on the stamps, but there were examples that salespeople could take with them and show to potential customers or potential governments, this is the quality that we can produce. But it is very strange that they used Paraguay as an example.
But Dila was saying that those labels were sold in Paraguay.
No,
Well,
they were.
she was saying that.
Hmm?
Dila, is that
I
correct?
guess she meant in the philatelic market, not by the government or the post
Okay,
office or
okay.
something like that.
Let me ask her. Dila, ¿esas viñetas se vendieron entre el comercio filatélico para los coleccionistas o únicamente o de alguna otra manera circularon en Paraguay?
Hay unas viñetas que él mencionó de la Guerra del Chaco, sí. Esas son viñetas autorizadas
No,
por el
sí,
gobierno.
pero estas
Pero
las
no,
que vimos, ok,
no,
ok.
no,
Nunca
All
se
right.
vendieron. Ok, perfecto.
Si se vendieron, no sé en dónde. Él dice que se hizo para algunos ejemplos
Ujú.
de estampillas. Sí, lo más probable que sí se hayan hecho cosas así, pero casi no es muy usual que usen justamente un país Paraguay como
Ujú.
una muestra. No sé de dónde se originaron eso, nosotros no tenemos la menor idea, pero no son viñetas, son ensayos de alguna imprenta tal vez.
Basically, she's saying that this is just like a printer's trial to show what they could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, thank you. David has, let me ask one more question and I will, you ask a question about where to put the,
Fruits.
what was it? I can't even read my own. So there were some stamps that were not issued,
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
have some proof and essays and things like that, and you wanted to put it in a separate charter or contextualize within their own stamps or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm always from, in my opinion, and obviously it's just my opinion, I always like to see everything like contextualized. It's easier to follow the story because they all tell the story, right? So it's so much easier to understand what happened historically, socially,
Mm.
postally, and in keeping them together. I understand that the challenge there is that they were never issued, released. So it depends, I guess, on the structure of the book or the article that you're writing. If you're doing chronologically, it might make sense even if they were not released to put it there. That's my 2 cents on that. And I will raise my hand again. David, all yours.
Thank you. Peter, just to say, I appreciate very much the work that you're doing on this handbook. I think it's something that that will fill a niche that's been missing in the Latin American philatelic market. The other thing I would note about handbooks is you and I are both members of the ISGC, and quite a number of members of the ISGC collected Guatemala because of the handbooks. There are people who had no connection to Guatemala, really no connection to Latin America in most cases, but they found the handbooks very compelling and it made it very easy to organize a collection. And so I think the work that you're doing on putting together a handbook for Paraguay could have the same effect. I think it could lead people to say, oh, okay, here's a country where we can easily organize a collection, and this handbook could very well lead to a growth of collectors of Paraguay. So I commend you on that. One question I have of you, and I think you and I have kind of mentioned this before, the Kneitzel book and Johan's work take very different approaches. They have very different amounts of information. Kneitzel, he goes into all of the different varieties. He lists them with he sort of gives a catalog number. He has pictures of design changes or flaws or how you can tell type 1 from type 2. Whereas when you go to Johan's work, he does more work on how these stamps came about, and here's what they are, and here's how they were used, and here are the covers and how they were sold at auction. So both of them have a lot of really interesting information, but there's not a huge amount of overlap. And bringing these two together, marrying those two, having Johan's work added to Kneitzel's numbers and his lists of varieties. I don't know how you're planning on taking the work, but you're mentioning all of these different resources that are out there. What is your thought about how you're going to put together the work of Johann and the work of Kneitzel, which don't contradict each other, but have very different
Yeah.
information?
Well, it's like the handbook of Guatemala, and then I mean the new versions, not the books by Goodman, but the one that was recently published or that is still being published. So I want to incorporate the plate flaws that Kneitzel mentions. The only problem is that I don't have color images of all the variations that Kneitzel mentions. That's the biggest problem. I have collected Paraguay for a long time, but it is very hard to get good material. Very hard. And even in the Netherlands, if you see a good collection, and then you see the first 6 and you know they are forged, pretty much. And then you look at the 1908 issue and you're looking for the 20 pesos. It isn't there, which according to Michel is only €5. Never ever. Because Johann told me that real used copies are very scarce. The same goes for the 20 pesos from the 30s, from the definitives that were used in. They are also very hard to get. Fortunately, mint copies are not that hard, and for the book I want to have mint copies so that you can really see the issue. But I really want to incorporate both of the 2 books. So the book will not be ready in a year's time. It will take several years to complete. And if people can help me find something that I don't have, and especially the plate flaws in mint condition from Kneitzel, then yes, please send me the information, send me the pictures. Also, I have another book that I didn't mention because I don't have a scan of it. There is a book by Godoy de Vargas, another book, with things that Kneitzel didn't mention. It's about 90 pages long. I got it by accident. I don't even know where and when, several years ago. And I also would like to have pictures in that book, but I don't think that many people have that book. So they don't even know what it would look like. It is a book that I think should be, how do you call it, digitized, so that collectors in the future can have a look at it. Because there is not much information digitized on Paraguay. There is a page that has some information, and I downloaded it. I don't know the site's name at hand. But yeah, I want to have the things mixed in. But that's why I think that the handbook would be 1,000 pages, just as big as the Guatemala handbook. The new one, not the old one, not the Goodman, but the new one.
Thanks, Peter. Regarding some of the, first of all, thank you for the presentation. Very, very interesting. As for some of the questions that you made us today, my opinion would be that if you put first the proofs of a stamp issue and then the stamps, just following the guideline that once I was given by a FIP jury, if you're showing something, first show the proofs because that came first, then show the stamps.
Okay.
Which is the last part of the production, that's the final product. So first the proofs, then the stamps. And if, as for the unissued stamp proofs, maybe you could put them chronologically where they belong. Let's say we have an issue, the proofs, that would be my opinion, the proofs, the stamps. Let's say that there was an unissued proof in there, you should put it there because it goes like in a sequence.
Okay.
It would be nice to put it there. Although making a special chapter just for unissued would be also a good decision in my opinion. You also asked if you should include the Zeppelin and the Chacua. Definitely, you should include everything that's possible from Paraguay because I know that a lot of people collect that material. So it will be very interesting to have that information recorded. And the other question that you asked is if the book should be like in volumes. even though it's a PDF, I will recommend volumes because it's easier to locate information. If you're looking on the screen, if you have one file just for one part, maybe located that, or some people, they even like to print stuff, maybe have it in volumes. That makes finding things easier than having a whole file. So maybe do it in volumes. That will be easier for people who are doing any research. That'll be my opinion. I don't know if someone shares it, but I would prefer having some smaller files than having a large file. Even it's more manageable in a computer. Sometimes depends on the computer. You can move it easily from one device to another, but it would be nice to have it in volumes. And once again, congratulations for this. I know that a lot of people will be interested in Paraguay once this information is out, and maybe that will also inspire other people to do handbooks of other Latin American countries, which are really needed. Latin America Philatelic has been like overlooked by some for quite a long time, and the efforts that you're doing might make some other people put all of this information together from other countries as well. So once again, thank you. Will.
Thank you. I have two more questions, Peter. In some part of your presentation, you said that, I don't know if you meant this literally, but you mentioned that you have to, what is, oh, right. That you have to go through the Latin repository, all the articles of it, in order to find something. I wonder if you mean that literally, because that's easy, like 3,000 pages.
Yeah, I mean that literally. For instance, luckily, my own local society, which is the Postschriftenvereniging Groningen nearby, does have a lot of classic journals that I can borrow. But I have to go through the pages and find out where something is printed. When Joe mentions a month and a year, it will become a lot easier. But there are a lot of parts that Joe missed or doesn't discuss. One of the things that I read while going through the Illustreerde Briefmarken journal was a discussion about a 1908 issue. And they discussed whether or not all the three colors that were printed for each of the stamps were real, or that only one color was real and the other two, yeah, well, something of a fake. And there is a discussion, and somebody tells us, yeah, but I have seen that and that specific stamp on a letter, and they say what the combination of stamps on the letter was. So you have a discussion. And I have to check with Joe Hahn's background information whether or not he mentions that specific cover, or that cover might have been lost somewhere, somehow. Because the International Illustreerde Briefmarken Journal had a lot of contacts in South America, and a lot of people gave information to them. So yeah, I have to go through page by page. And at the moment, I did 12 years of the Illustreerde Briefmarken Journal.
Yeah.
But I already did all the journals of the American Philatelist and all the journals of the Collectors Club Philatelist.
Yeah. If you allow me a suggestion, Peter, I have a similar project than the one you have, the Philatelic repository, but I have it locally. Well, I have another server. It's a paperless GTX. It's similar to the one I used before. It's a document management system.
Mhm.
The difference with Zotero is that it automatically index every single document that you put in there. So you just look for keywords. It's full text search.
Mhm.
And if you're looking for, I don't know, James Williams Harrison, you put James Williams Harrison. Okay, in all your library, these are all the documents that you have to mention, even mention. And you can, tag and do really interesting thing. I think if you combine something like the Sotero that you have with a smaller, like when you're doing a specific research, you put a subset of your references into something like paperless GTX. It will make you find information way faster. So that we can talk about that later if you want, and I can show you
Yeah.
what I have. The second question is, you mentioned that you were going to be sharing a Word document. I wonder if you would be open to use something like a Google Doc instead, given to make it easier for people to send you suggestions about what is written,
Yeah.
it's contextualized, the revision and I think it's better.
That's not a problem. The Sotero integrates Cite and Write with Google Docs as well as Word. And if I place something in on the Google map, it will probably in the background convert it to a Google Docs and send it back as a Google or as a Word document. That's not a problem. But it will. Most of the systems that I know as a storage facility do not allow Cite and Write. And for me, that was an important decision. I have been writing scientific articles, and it is usually a crime to correctly insert the references and the bibliography into an article or a book. And maybe I could optimize the system by allowing it to generate tags. But what I do is usually when I go through a journal, I have an Excel sheet with different fields, and then I create something that I can read into Sotero. But if something is online, for instance, and it has good keywords, like I can read in documents from Google Books. I can read in documents from worldcat.org, from archive.org, but usually the tags are wild. That means you have 10 to 20 different wordings, and sometimes even in WorldCat you have 7 languages. And I have chosen to use only English, well, Anglo-American. And I will always use, for instance, Brazil with an S as a keyword and never Brazil with a Z. So I try to be as economical with the tagging as possible. So you would need a system that would check whether or not a specific tag is already in use. To give you an idea, in Sotero, I have close to 3,000 different tags. 1,500, about 1,500 just for countries and areas in the world.
What a minute.
And then I use, for instance, perforation as a general term, and I use cover as a general term, overprint as a general term, but I never use the word surcharge because then it would be complicated. And I found out some new techniques in Sotero that I can use if you have a personalized version. You can have searches that are standardized. So when new information is added to the total library, your personal search will be updated, and it will only contain the articles or countries that you're looking for. So for instance, you can ask Paraguay, Zeppelin, or just Zeppelin, and then you get everything in the world, and you can filter further down.
Yeah. One quick last question. When are you going to finish the Venezuela handbook? David, back to you again.
Just a
I leave it to
comment,
you.
and you're probably already aware of this, Peter, but there's an auction, I think it's called Argyle in England next week that has a massive collection, specialized collection of Paraguay, broken up into 45 different lots. So I don't know, I don't know, what you're interested in or what you're missing, but doubtless that collection has probably some of the rarest pieces from Paraguay.
The problem is I am chronically ill and I don't work anymore. So my income is not what it used to be. And most of the times the question is, can I afford it? And at the moment, I can't afford most of the things that are online or for sale. Let's say that I can spend about €1,000 a year on stamps, and I pay about $300 in memberships to different organizations. I think I'm a member of 12 organizations. Well, in the Netherlands, they are more expensive than outside. So for the Dutch, I already pay, and Dutch and German, €125 for organizations. So, well, I have to do with what I have and maybe scoop something up. Because sometimes people make errors on eBay or on other auctions, and then you can have a really good deal. And sometimes people don't know. And just recently, I bought 2 covers from Saudi Arabia, one for €3 and the other for €8. But there is a plate flaw on it. And the stamps alone are €22 in Michel, but most people don't know it. So affordability is usually my new criteria.
But Peter, for you, probably this auction will be interesting to have the catalog, so you can have copies or photograph or
Yeah.
scans of the stamp which are going to be auctioned.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it for your handbook, will be very interesting.
Yeah.
I guess.
And what was the auction's name again?
Argyle.
Argyle. Yeah, I know about it. I follow a lot of auction houses. I also index named auctions. And very often you will find that they do have a PDF that you can download.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of very nice information. I'm not just collecting for myself, but I'm also interested in what there is around in the world. I'm a member of the Nicaragua Society, even though I don't collect Nicaragua. But it is very interesting to know and hear how scarce certain things are. Things that people that are just $3, $4. Yeah, but on a letter, only 2 copies exist. I'm thankful for COVID, I must say. Because of COVID, there are a lot of Zoom meetings, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, Mi Oficina is one of those COVID
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
You can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this afternoon we had a meeting of the Nicaragua Society, and Chris Harmon, a former president of the Royal Society, didn't know about my Oficina. So I told him about my Oficina, and hopefully he will spread the word in England. Because when you have the videos, you can get subtitles. And you can also you can always download the PDF and go through the pages and see what's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of information.
Yeah. Tell him to present something here
Yeah.
at Mi Oficina, please. Yes, really.
Yes.
Nicaragua is part of what we want.
Yeah, and he is asking me, and what his specific question to me today was, do you know about people that can expertise stamps from Latin America?
Well, depending which country.
Yeah, that
Yeah, and
depends.
well, I told him that I would be giving this presentation tonight, so he asked specifically about Paraguay because they don't have any person that can expertise stamp from Paraguay.
Let me ask
Yeah.
that one in Spanish to Dila right now. Dila, ¿quién puede expertizar Paraguay actualmente?
Ella
¿Qué?
puede.
Ok, aparte de tú, no se oye, Dila.
Soy yo,
Ah, tú. Perfecto.
yo.
Ok. Dila can expertise, Peter.
And can I give her name to Chris Harmon
Eh,
and an email? I don't have her email, so if you can provide me with her email, I will give her details to Chris Harmon. And we'll be very glad with her.
Si quieres, me lo mandas, yo lo reenvío, Dila.
Es dilaiton@gmail.com.
Ah, ok.
Yo no hago certificación
Ok.
para el grupo de expertos, pero sí le puedo dar las opiniones mías. No
Ok.
estoy inscrita para hacer certificación y es comercial y a mí no me gusta hacerlo.
Ok.
Pero sí me lo puede consultar, yo le puedo ayudar si
She
quiere.
can do the consultation, but not actually do the actual certificate.
No,
But
no,
she
no.
can,
but
but she can give
yeah.
her opinion about
Yeah.
an item.
Yeah, he asked about giving an opinion.
Okay.
They don't want you to expertise, but give an opinion.
Okay.
But that would be very helpful, and that goes for a lot of countries in South America, because you see a lot of forgeries.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are in the right
Yeah.
society for that, Peter.
Hmm?
You are in the right society for that. You know, we
Yeah.
cover all Latin American countries.
Yeah, I told them so that I might ask people whether or not they know people that can give an opinion. And
Yeah,
I said,
I am the president of MEPSI, you know, and we do from Mexico, you know, certifications.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're interested, we are very happy to help.
Yeah, MEPSI is one of the journals I still have to access, but yeah, as I said, I don't have that.
There will be all MEPSI online in the next months.
Okay.
Everything will be all Mexicana, you know, will be online probably in 2-3 months time. If you are a member, you will have access to that, everything, in PDF files, download everything.
The world has changed a lot because there are so many societies that have PDFs online. Peru, Chile, Ecuador, all online.
Yeah, Mexico now.
Yeah, and if you
that is 80 years of Mexican.
Did you ever receive the pen drive that I sent you like years ago?
No, I didn't.
Jeez, man, sorry.
You know, I don't trust my own postal service.
No, I think actually there's a new postal facility. It's called Palmetto in Florida, and it was supposed to they created supposedly to fix the issues with the Georgia mail, and it's been chaotic, but big time. So it's probably my side.
No, it's and I have lost several registered shipments from Great Britain.
Wow.
That should go to customs, and I got a mail from customs that I had to pay something, and I paid something, and I didn't receive it.
I can upload the magazines from the Club Filatélico de Caracas and Asofilca somewhere. I don't know if you have space somewhere.
You can download from there. Yeah.
Will, maybe you could contact Henry Marquez.
Okay.
Henry and I share the repository, and we each have about 150 gigabyte of storage capacity. And if people want to store something on our site, then we do. For instance, last year, I had a meeting with Federico Gallegos, and he told me that I could store all El Faros on the website. I also store Brian Morehouse, the main sheet on the website. I also store the Seebecker because I got permission from Johan, and I store the Central American newsletter online. because I got permission from Mick Schreiber to do that.
I just checked, and all the Venezuelan magazines that I have is 3.65 gigs total.
No, that's nothing. On my computer, I have close to 500 gigabyte of digital information.
Well, I will contact Henry when he's back.
Peter, here in Honduras, we also have that similar issue that you mentioned with the expertising, and so we don't do certificates, but we get every now and then an image of someone asking us, well, is this stamp good? And we have people who are very specialized in certain issues, and they also can give you their opinion. In my opinion, it's good, or in my opinion, it's bad. We cannot certify yet, but we can give a valid opinion on a stamp. And as for our journal, it's still on paper. So yeah, sorry guys, no PDF of Honduras Philatelica yet.
You can scan that.
Yeah, we can scan
Mauricio.
that, but
It will take you half an hour. Come on.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
Scan it.
Yeah, for
they-
one
we
issue.
like that the post office actually help us send it postage free. So that's the only support that we get from the post office.
but it's not available online. You cannot get it.
Yeah, but we like to collect the membership fee for the magazines.
Well, that's a big issue nowadays, that most
Yeah.
journals are going online
Online,
because of the postage.
No, but we have free postage. That's something that we always appreciate. Correos de Honduras, that they
Yeah,
send it
free
for
postage,
free.
but within Honduras, but
No,
not
no,
abroad.
abroad. Rafael received it, right, Rafael? And he gets it on paper. It's free, so it has a lot of interesting
I
articles.
get it, and it's free.
It's
Yeah,
free,
they
yeah.
don't
Yeah,
pay any.
but in Colombia, you had a very serious problem. I got this envelope, and it was sent from Spain in December with a Christmas card, and I got it just 2 days ago.
Well, but you got it. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Well, the Colombian mail,
Unbelievable.
you know, Manuel, the Colombian mail is untrusty.
Yeah,
Yes, it's horrible.
yeah.
It's worse than that. Come on.
Yes.
No, but ours.
It is still
True.
better than Saudi Arabia. Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia issues stamps, but you can't use it for postage.
Oh, really?
No.
Interesting.
I
That's
have
the thing.
there is somebody who has tried to send a postcard to all the members of the Saudi Arabia Society, and he couldn't do it. They don't accept
Peter,
stamps.
yeah, I brought a few books about the Colombian philately, especially the pre-stamp period and some of these issues in revenues. And you can have it all my permission just to put it online. I mean, to put it in your repository. It will be for free. Yes,
Do you
no
have
problem.
digital versions?
Yes, I do.
Then please, and I will gladly do it.
Yes, I will. I will
Handbooks
send
are
you by
amazing.
an email to you, and with a PDF by one of those things that you can send it with transfer or whatever, so you
Yeah.
can have it without any problem.
Mhm.
I
That
was
would be-
talking the other day with Henry, but I just had so many things on my mind, and I just put it aside. But I will do it in the future, in very near future. I promise.
Yeah, I have a lot of books, and I have the several of the Borveld books on forgeries, which are very, very good. And by accident, I bought one copy double. I still have it.
Gentlemen, I have to leave right now.
Okay,
Thank you
me
very much
too.
for the presentation. My excuses, but I have to leave.
Okay.
Me
Okay,
too.
Manuel.
Thank you very much, Peter. Great presentation.
And Peter, once again, thank you for this presentation. Very interesting. I don't see any other hands raised, so once again, thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter.
And thanks for all of
No,
you for
thanks.
being here.
That I could help.